Okay, I'm going to turn down the sound here, and what you saw, this is thermal imaging and an Indian burial ground investigation. You just saw the truck that I just passed. That was Wiley's, and I'm pointing down a road that is a pump jack road. Now, in this investigation, I was going to go by myself, and I just flipped it to infrared. You just saw that, and the infrared only goes about 25 to 30 feet at best, but it's good for eye shine. It's good for eye shine. But anyway, Bill and Wiley didn't feel comfortable with me going by myself down there. I didn't have a problem, but they wanted to go. So I took them there, and I've never been down in this area, and you can still see I've got infrared on, and I'm looking around. I'm going to switch it here in a second to thermal, but we went down. It looks like the time says it's around 9:35 p.m. So the thing with this area is that it's remote. It's an isolated patch of woods. But this happened to be the night before 4th of July. So I just switched it off. You can see I switched it to infrared, and then I switched it off for a second so I could see if there's any prints in that depression there. I'm looking at these tire rows here. So anyway, they wanted to go, and I had been down there in the summer, and it was crazy thick. Normally I go down in the fall or winter. See, I just switched it back. That's why you can see the green grass. Now I switched to infrared. And so I'd never been down there in the summer. It was crazy thick. As you saw as we drove in, now I just switched it to infrared, or excuse me, thermal. And you can see the heat coming off the pump jack right there. A pump jack pumps oil. This one happens to be abandoned. So every once in a while, there is some oil field guys that come in here, but not so often. This is a dead end. There's no reason why people go through here. It's a closed off road. This used to be an old recreational area, and they tore it all up, closed off the road. And I'm just trying to get a lay of the land there because I cannot see. I don't have a flash. I do have a flashlight, but I'm not shining it everywhere. There, see my flashlight? I'm trying to make my way. The grasses are as tall as my chest, so I'm just trying to find the road again. There it is right there. You can see the ruts in the road, and then I've got infrared on. I'm trying to navigate my way down there. Now the guys didn't want to come with me. They were afraid they were going to get eat up by chiggers, or they just didn't want to go with me. But I wanted to go. I was hell bent on going, and I was going to go. I had my EMF reader at the same time. There I switched it back to thermal. Okay, so there is Julie. That's Wiley Dave's wife. So I turned back. She was actually still kind of following me, but then she broke off and didn't want to go any further. That pump jack road is still a ways down there. It's still about 120 yards. So anyway, you could see the heat signature coming off the road. The two wore out pass of the tires. Just because there's no grass there and exposed, and the heat of the day has heated up the dirt there, so that's why it's kind of like a walking path, so to speak, with thermal imaging on, which I have right now. Now, it's kind of grainy with this thermal imaging. It's kind of Gen 1 or Gen 2, so it's not like high level military grade, thermal imaging. You're going to get either a hot white. That was the truck that you just saw. I turned back to the west. The truck was behind me. It's still registering hot. So I'm looking around. Now, when I pan around, I'm looking for signatures that move. White dots or elements that move. I'm looking in trees, and some of the trees still have a fairly high heat signature. But I'm looking for things that you could see how hot that signature is of those trees right in front of me. And that what was in front of me was that pump jack, that old well. Now, if I move things, if I move that camera fast, it gets really pixelated. So I've learned I need to slow down on turning that. Otherwise, if I move it too fast, it gets really weird pixelated. So that's why every once in a while it'll pixelate, and then it'll catch up, and then it goes really clear. So I'm moving slow. Now, granted, this is a burial site down here. I had my EMF reader. Ironically, I didn't get any EMFs, but I also had it because it has been told that when you're near these creatures, Bigfoot or otherwise, they will emit a high EMF frequency, and you can pick it up on that EMF reader. So I had it in my pocket here. If I got it too close to my camera, it would go off because I'm emitting a frequency, obviously, with this thermal camera. So I'm scanning around still. I turned back to the truck right there, kind of in that plus sign there, the center, and you could see there was just a dot there. So I'm about 120 already, maybe somewhere in there. I'm getting closer to the pump jack. I've got it on thermal. And now right here, about 2/3 the way up on that pump jack last time, as we saw eye shine. And that's probably right at about 10 feet. To the top of that is about 15 feet. So about 2/3 the way up is about 10 feet, somewhere in there, 9-10 feet. And that's where we saw eye shine last time. So I flick it to thermal. It looks like there's eye shine right there, but when I flick it back, it's not eye shine. It's just part of the pump jack. But it was definitely definitive eye shine what we saw, because it was so far away from that pump. This area had been burnt out before, and so a lot of deadfalls, a lot of heavy, thick woods. It was so freaking thick down there. I was shocked. Now, right now, I've got thermal on. What you're seeing on the ground there that's still registering hot, that is actually spilled oil on the ground that still is holding that heat. Oil is a real thick, viscous fluid, so it's still holding the heat. It's been really hot that day, so it was still holding a lot of that heat. And that's kind of what was going on. I'm looking back at the truck. You could barely see the heat signature of the truck just now. Now I'm looking back at the pump jack. It kind of opens up this area. I've got it on thermal. The ground's still hot, as you can see. It's still emitting heat because that's an open area. There's very little grass. Now you see the oil down below. I'm scanning around. There's the pump jack right there, and there's the catch tank to the right. Still looking around, seeing if there's anything moving with a heat signature out there. I'm still looking, panning to my right, trying to see if there's anything that's moving at all. And I don't see anything. Just scanning. There's the truck way back there in the back, about 150 yards back there probably. Nobody with me. Nobody wanted to come with me. They were yelling, "Did you have your gun? Did you get your gun?" Of course I had my gun. But I wanted to go down there. I was originally going to go down by myself. These guys wanted to go. But I wanted to go to the pump jack because that's where we saw the eye shine. So I kind of start slowly back. I'm out there just normal talking. "Hey guys, I'm here. If there's anyone here, come join me." I just now switched it back to infrared. Now I've got my flashlight. There's the tank, the catch tank. Shine my light right there. There's the catch tank, and there's the pump jack. You still see the oil on the ground. There's a reflective plate. I'm kind of moving around. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I can catch even with the light. I don't see anything at this point. So it's on infrared. And I decide, well, if nothing's going to come out, my EMF's not going to go off, I'm just going to take my time. And I'm just walking back nice and easy. I kind of pan back to the north. I did this narration here too because there was a lot of fireworks, believe it or not, going off in the area. My mics that are on this infrared thermal camera is not the best, so you do hear the crickets, but it's just real poor sound quality. So I decided to do narration. So I'm panning around. There we go. I'm back to thermal. I'm looking back at the pump jack just one more time. And just scanning around, taking my time. Again, the weeds are up to my chest high. As you can see, some of the Johnson grass and ryegrasses that are in there. I can't hardly see the truck at this point because it's starting to cool down, so that heat signature is not as prevalent. On this thermal camera, like I said, heat signatures will be white hot. cold signatures will be just black or dark gray. So it's black or white on this thermal right here. But it works. It's a Gen 1, Gen 2, but it works. It's great. I'm just fortunate to have it. I'm looking around here in the trees to see if there's anything out there. It's got a white hot signature that's moving. Again, that pump jack sticks right out. It's all metal, and so it still holds a lot of that heat from the day. I'm just looking out here. Is there anything? Now, see, when I move in too fast, it gets really pixelated. Gets really pixelated here. You see the truck way in the background. The ground signature is still hot because there's not a lot of grass there to insulate it, so it's exposed dirt there, but there's a lot of grasses there. So I'm just kind of making my way back. It looks like the time here is 21:45:08. So it's not terribly late here, but we figured that if we stayed in this area, it was a bust anyway. That's why we didn't stay long, because there was a lot of fireworks being popped to the north. Even though this is an isolated area of woods, it's just near the lake. So there's people that will get in these boats and get in these coves and start popping fireworks. What they can do, I just switched it back to infrared, heading back. But I didn't expect that on July 3rd, but everybody was celebrating early. And of course, it went off on July 4th too. I'm sure we weren't there on the 4th. But we just decided, hey, didn't expect this. I went down there, didn't get any activity. Doesn't mean they're not down there. It's just they're not down there tonight. They're still having some issues with the neighbor having chickens missing. So I went down there to see if we could see anything, hear anything, call up anything, and nothing. So again, that doesn't mean they're not there. It's just there was so much activity with fireworks going on that I just decided that I'll go down there anyway. We're here. Let's try it. So from here, I'm looking around still, looking at the trees, looking for eye shine. I've got it on infrared right now. I get back to the truck, and Wiley says, well, did you see anything? And I said, no. So from there, we went home and exchanged vehicles, and we went out on a ranch. And then I'm still looking at the ground, looking for prints. So I went on a ranch. Wiley was going to do some calling, but we exchanged vehicles. I felt I had a light out on my truck, and I wasn't aware of it, and I didn't want to get pulled over for a light not functioning. So here I head back to the truck, and the guys are asking me if there's anything I saw. There's Wiley's truck right there. So I'll just stop the video right now. And then, so I went down all the way to the pump jack. It's about 150 plus yards from the truck. Really thick area down there. Of course, there's, at night, I'm familiar with the area, but there's still a lot of ravines and snakes out at night. So really, nighttime investigations are okay to do, but you really have to know the surroundings, and you need to wear snake boots. There's just a lot of other unforeseen dangers. If you're doing night investigation, you want to be in relatively open paths that you're not going to get a branch in your eye. That you're not going to step in a deep ravine or anything like that. You don't want to have to be crossing water that you're not aware of or anything like that. So you want to be fully aware of your surroundings. That does help a tremendous amount. Daytime investigations in an area before nighttime, it would be great. It'd be a smart thing to do. But you just want to make sure, and if you do nighttime investigations and you're walking around, you do want to wear some type of protective eye gear. In the summertime, especially, you've got a tremendous amount of mosquitoes that carry disease. You have to be mindful of that. You've got a lot of ticks, Rocky Mountain spotted fever. You have some other interesting illnesses or tick-borne diseases. Also, you have hogs at night. They're nocturnal, extremely nocturnal, and you come up on a sow with piglets. She may not like that. So now you got a problem. Or you get a boar that's really kind of pissed off at you, and he's got these long cutters, and he's coming at you, and you drop your light and you drop your thermal. Now you can't see where he's coming from. All you can hear is just, coming at you. That's not a situation you want to be in. Even if you have a gun, They're black. You can't see them if you don't have any immediate trees in the area. So I'm just trying to paint a scenario here of why you don't want to go at night, but we know this area, and I knew if it was really thick, I just wanted to stay on the road. And you can do an adequate investigation. I would have stayed longer, but the fireworks were way too loud, and I knew if there was any predators in the area, who wants to stay around loud fireworks? I wouldn't. So we left out relatively early there,